Welcome to the overview for this week. It's a bit of a different one. We're sitting in one of the committee rooms where over the last 4 days we've been going through the estimates process, a process where we're able to sit down with ministers and their departments and go through the budget line by line. Last year the Treasurer said that we were heading into a golden age. This year the budget outlines Tasmania moving into over $1 billion of net debt, the first time in 15 years that the state budget will go into net debt. The first day started with Premier Hodgman, and it shows that clearly they've kept their eye off the ball and they're focusing on things that aren't important to the Tasmanian people. We saw that in the last 3 years that the government's media unit has doubled in size, and we've seen close to a 30% increase in ministerial staffing over that same period of time. And we also found out that one of his staffers, a long-term staffer in the Premier's office, after the election was moved out into the Treasurer's office, a position created for him as Deputy Chief of Staff, and the Deputy Chief of Staff position was then terminated, and he received in excess of $50,000 over and above what his regular entitlements would have been. So not a great start for the Premier, particularly when he's asking for $500 million in savings across departments. Throughout the week we found out in health that not only is the Royal Hobart Hospital hopelessly delayed, but the promised adolescent mental health beds will no longer be delivered. This is an absolute disgrace to the Minister. Last week he committed to providing a unit, and now we know that it's not a specific unit at all. It's a series of beds in a ward. That is not appropriate healthcare, and that is not the promise that they committed to only just last week. We also saw in child protection and housing a minister hopelessly out of depth, not able to answer questions, not able to admit that he'd read reports covering various important matters in his portfolio. So a week where they couldn't explain where the $500 million in savings will come from, they couldn't explain how we were going to get the state out of net debt, and a government which is reeling with a lack of vision and a lack of a way forward. We scored some punches. We raised the issues that the people of Tasmania feel strongly about, and after this week we know we head into next week, the final sitting of this 4-week block, to really prosecute the case on behalf of all Tasmanians that this government need to do better in a whole range of areas.